Hello, 7th grade. It's Miss Odell. It's Monday, May the 3rd, 2021. Today, we're going to be on page 445, which is 11.2, solving equations using multiplication. We already solved equations using addition and subtraction, but now we're going to be solving using multiplication. First of all, I want to talk about the multiplication property of equality, which is right here. And this equality states that both sides of an equation, you've got an equal sign and you've got a term on each side or two, and that states that it may be multiplied or divided by the same number without changing the equality. Okay, so let's talk about what is the opposite of multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. What is the opposite of division? And that is multiplication. We're going to be using that in these equations. All right, so let's look at some of these. The first one we're going to look at is a negative 5x equals 35. So remember I said anytime you've got a number beside a number, that's the same thing as saying 5 times x or 5 times x. It's always, you're going to see it written like that, but that actually means multiplication. So what is the opposite of multiplication? Well, that would be division. So I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 5. And you take the negative with you. That's going to cancel. X is going to equal 35 over a negative 5. Now, when I go to divide that, remember when you are dividing a negative and a positive, which with that said, this 35 is a positive and the 5 is negative, your answer is going to be a negative, okay? So, 35 divided by 5, x equals negative 7, okay? Let's look at the next one here. First of all, in this particular equation, we have y divided by 4 equals 2 times 6. So you have to simplify first. 2 times 6 is 12. Now, y over 4 indicates division. Remember that. Division, division, division. So, y divided by 4 equals 12. What's the opposite of division? Multiplication. So technically, if I have y over 4 equals 12, technically if I multiply this equation, this is going to cancel and I'm going to end up with y equals 12 times 4. Y equals, so when you multiply 12 times 4, you're going to get 48. And you can always check your answer by substituting y. 48 over 4 equals 12. And you will see that when you divide it by 4, you do get 12. And that is your answer. Okay, so let's practice a few more. Now, h over 3, we're looking at a. H over 3 is the same thing as division. All right, so if I am going to do the opposite, I'm going to multiply. Of course, that's going to cancel out, and I'm going to be left with h equals negative 7 times positive 3 is a negative 21. Okay, let's keep working here. This time I have 13. X equals 52. That is being multiplied. Divide both sides by 13. X equals, so when you do that division, then x is going to equal 4. Okay? And you can check it by substituting 4 in there. And when you multiply 13 times 4, you're going to get 52. Let's go up here to C. This time I've got to simplify here first. Okay? Now, let's talk about this for a moment. Okay, so in this instance, I have to add a line, change the sign. Why? Or you can leave it the same if you just know. But 30 minus 70, we know we're going to get a negative because 30 is smaller than 70. So that is actually going to equal negative 40. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 40 because 40y is multiplication and the opposite is division. Negative 40 divided by 40 equals a negative 1. Okay, let's go down here to D. We're also going to simplify here. 90 plus 20 is 110. All right, so then I'm going to divide both sides by 11. And when I do so, I'm going to get B, and that is going to equal 10. All right, we have on here. I think we've got a few more I'm going to practice with you. And then again, feel free to let me know if you have any questions, okay? So here we have a division. What's the opposite of division? Multiplication. So when I multiply 5 by both sides, of course, it's going to cancel out the 5 here. And you're going to have B equals a negative 1 times a positive 5. So B is going to equal negative 1 times a positive 5 is a negative 5. Here, you will notice that it's written opposite. In some cases, there's been some teachers that have said go ahead and solve it that way. However, I don't like to do that. I like to switch it, which would move 10x equals 20. Remember, if you have a negative or positive, you want to take those with you. Divide both sides by 10. X equals 2. Okay? Over here, up to G. First of all, I have to combine a negative 100 plus 4, which when you have a negative and a positive, you are actually going to be subtracting, okay, which would give you a negative 96. So remember, when you're adding a positive and negative, you subtract and take the sign of the larger number, which would be a negative because 100 is a negative, okay? Now, I'm going to divide both sides by 12. So when you do your division there, you are going to get, your answer is going to be a negative, and your answer is going to be a negative 8 when you do that division. All right, let's do the next one here. 3 over 4 x equals 27. Now remember, here's what you're going to do. Are you multiplying or are you dividing? Well, what you're going to do is you are going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal. Remember, the reciprocal of this is going to be 4 over 3. So if you multiply 4 over 3 times 3 over 4 x equals, go ahead and put it over 1, 27 over 1 times the reciprocal, which is 4 over 3. This is going to cancel. You're going to have x equals, you can do some cross cancellation out here. 4 times 9 is 36, and that would be over 1, which would be 36. That would be your answer. Okay, so that is going to be all that we're going to do right now. You are going to be solving on page 446 to 447. You're going to be doing 1 through, I'll write it on here, page 446. It's also on LMS. 447. You're going to do 1 through 12 all. Please do not hesitate to let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to help you guys.